Jeff Wilson started covering the Texas Rangers in 2008, though he'll never forget 2021. Out on his own, he decided it was time to do a podcast, but his wheels were spinning until a nerd came along. There's no going back now. Welcome to the Texas Rangers Baseball Podcast. Here's your host, Jeff Wilson, and the recliner nerd himself, John Moore.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Rangers Today Baseball Podcast. This is episode number 89, and today, Kip Fagg's going to join us. Once again, he did it last year after the draft. He's going to do it today. Just like last time. It's brought to you by the Frisco Rough Riders. Again, thanks to the Dub Network, what you're watching this on. But let's go to the big leagues first. We've just come back from an All-Star break. Let me move a little bit because we're back to this camera now. All-Star game went pretty well. A little surprised Corey didn't get to bat again, but yeah. I can handle that. But I'll tell you one of the coolest things of the All-Star game that I love, and I can't wait to talk to him today. We'll be out at the ballpark later today. When Nathan Eovaldi was on the mic talking during the game, that was one of the coolest things I've seen that before, but I guess it's because I know Nate. We know Nate.
Sure.
And my wife was going, they need to quit talking to him when he's in his windup. I was like, I think he's okay, honey. Probably
they did it last year with Jose Trevino behind the plate. They did it with Alek Manoah from the Blue Jays, and it was really fun. And I was wondering though, the pitch clock, how quick it goes. They tried to do it with Josh Hader, in the eighth inning, and the inning was over before they had a chance because they got a double play, and it was like, all right, well, they're done. So, but that's not a complaint against the pitch clock. The Rangers, there were 5 starters, which is ridiculous.
All 6 on the field.
All 6 are on the field when Eovaldi pitched his second inning there, or the second inning. But it was a pretty cool deal. They went 0 for 9. Adolis Garcia made a couple really good catches battling the sun. And I was talking during the workout yesterday to the Rangers people who've been to Seattle several times. We never knew the sun was a factor at that time of day because the roof is either closed or it's cloudy.
Right.
There's no in between, and so a 5 o'clock start, not ideal with the roof open,
and a beautiful day too.
Yeah, apparently the weather was great in Seattle, which is a rarity. So, not bad, not a bad show, and the game's entertaining. It's still the best All-Star game in any sport, and the home run derby seems to have taken over the game in terms of popularity, and I would like to see the rules change a little bit. I like the timer, but I think the people who hit the most home runs should advance. Adley Rutschman should have advanced, especially with what he did from both sides of the plate.
Yeah, that was impressive.
That was pretty cool too.
That was pretty cool.
But anyway,
by the way, he's played the home run game too.
There you go. Yeah, we got to send that out, John.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was a good time. Hopefully everybody got rest. The All-Stars didn't have to be at the workout yesterday. I saw Adolis Garcia, but I don't know that he was going to work out. He might have just been dropping stuff off or whatever. But,
sure.
So we'll see. It starts tonight with the Guardians. I mean, this is a tough stretch to finish the month. It's Guardians, Rays, Dodgers, Astros, and then Padres, and those last 2
honestly,
are on the road.
If you're going to go 500 through this, it's probably okay. I mean, this is going to be tough.
It is.
Let's go where they're sitting. They're 52-39 at the break, 3-7 in their last 10, and they've lost a couple. I mean, this is not a team that is just. They're on a little lull right now. They were tired. I think you could see it with some of the players. I think you could see it with Josh Spores especially. Either that or the league figured him out and he needs to make an adjustment, or maybe both. But it wasn't very good, very pretty going down the stretch, and losing 3 or 4 to the Astros stunk and made things a little tighter than it had been. But these things are going to happen. Winning's not easy. No.
You have two guys on the coaching staff, and Bruce Bochy, the manager, and Mike Maddox, the pitching coach, who are perennially in the playoffs or have been in their career. So
sure.
they'll offer some pretty good guidance, I think, in the second half. And Mike will figure out a way to juggle the pitching staff. And of course, the trade deadline is now the next big event here in
and all the
in
focus
a
can
couple
go to
weeks.
that. It's not like they haven't been focusing on that.
Right.
But the draft was a big deal, and we're going to obviously talk about the draft with Kip, which is going to be a lot of fun to talk about that. But this is this trade deadline may be one of the most important ones they've had in at least the last 5 years. We'll know it's the most important one.
Yeah.
But this is a team that is good enough to play in the playoffs. They're at least a wild card team. No matter what, even if the Astros were to catch them, and they can make a run. This is a team good enough to make a run even from that point.
Yeah, the best thing to do is to win the division, because with the AL East teams as good as they are, it may be hard to win a wild card spot. So so definitely work on the division, obviously, but and that way you get to play at home in the early rounds and
right.
Anyway, but yeah, they have to address the bullpen. I mean, there's just no question about it. And it's great that they have a Aroldis Chapman, but how many times has he pitched? 3 times?
Yeah.
And they haven't been in like really huge spots. And
Spores. I don't think Spores is being used the way he should be. He's at the back end of the bullpen now because he's kind of like the only one they were trusting there for a little while. Him and Smith. He's not best there.
Right.
With that stuff, if you have a closer and a setup guy, he's a 6th, 7th, 8th, right, 6th, 7th guy, or even a matchup guy. You got 2 right-handers coming up to start an inning.
Yeah.
You can put him in there and mow through them and get that third out.
Yeah, he's he's still inexperienced. I mean, this is the best he's pitched in the majors. These are the highest leverage situations he's been in, so he's still learning and feeling his way out. I mean, remember, he was so bad in spring training that they came up with an ankle injury for him.
Yeah.
To put him on the injured list and to get him straightened down. It's been pretty good, no question about it. It could, but I think that the Rangers would agree that they need more than Josh Spores pitching the 8th inning in a playoff game.
And Aroldis Chapman isn't the answer that they have back there. He's great. He's a good addition, and he will be in leverage situations.
Yeah,
but they need to get more arms.
Yeah. The Aroldis Chapman is just part of the answer.
Right.
They need, I think some Rangers players think they need a couple more relievers, 2 more. I still think they need a starting pitcher. It helps them for next year if you get the right one who's under control. So try to get that too. Bats, leave the offense is fine. I don't think you need to do any of that. At some point, if you are going to be a playoff team, you start thinking about late game situations and who you can put in. Well, you got Bubba Thompson,
Sure.
who can come up and run and steal you a base. You have guys like that in the system already. And I think if Ezekiel Duran is going to continue to hit like this, he's your answer in left field. So really every position is spoken for, and we'll see what happens. But
interesting.
It is interesting, and maybe they do go get a bat. I don't know.
Maybe part of the deal is a bat that comes with it.
Yeah.
And I would think in a deal like that, if they do get a bat, someone like Duran is probably in that deal to kind of swap out, kind of a swap out.
I
deal.
mean, if it's a guy who's under control.
Yes. No. I agree.
It's
not a rental. A rental isn't going to get you Duran.
No. And I mean,
but if Duran were part of the deal, what I'm saying is if Duran, maybe if it was a deal where a starting pitcher was coming under control and a bat that maybe wasn't under control, Duran could be the guy to headline that deal or be part of that deal, because what's coming up, that you've got your left fielder coming back in the deal. And then even if he's here just for a rental, you've got some guys in the system that are probably making a big leap forward by the end of the year.
Well, I mean, Julio Pablo Martinez probably should be in the major leagues.
Should.
I mean, he'd be a starting outfielder if it was 2022, but it's not. I think that it'll be interesting. The Rangers have a pretty clogged up 40-man roster.
Yeah.
So I think that if you're a prospect on the 40-man roster, I think I wouldn't get too comfortable. I wouldn't make any real estate plans these next couple weeks.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy in Texas unless that's just where you want to live in the offseason.
Yeah, the Rangers really need to free up that 40-man a little bit, and that's one way to do it. And it's not just to make additions this year. You know, there are a lot of Rule 5 guys they'll have to consider protecting in the offseason. So it's a complicated deal. It's not just about the rest of the season. It goes into next year. It goes into the offseason. And, you know, I'd be curious to know what conversations are taking place. I've always had a theory that when there's a rumor that comes out that says, hey, the Rangers might have talked to the Pirates about Andrew McCutchen.
Yeah.
Well, who else do the Pirates have?
Yeah.
They have a young, controllable pitcher who's an all-star and a reliever who was a setup guy on Team USA. And the Rangers are talking to the White Sox about Lance Lynn. Well, who do the White Sox have? They have Dylan Cease.
Yep.
And
then Giolito was the new name that popped up, who the Dodgers are really in on that.
They're looking bigger than that, and so that's where there's smoke, there's fire, and so I'll be curious to see what shakes out, and you see this in every trade deadline. You go to the White Sox and you say, hey, we're looking at Giolito or we're looking at Cease. We'll give you these guys, and they say for that guy, let's look at Lance Lynn, and of course the Rangers are like, hell no, or whatever. But what gets leaked out or whatever, Lance Lynn's agent says, the Rangers have inquired about Lance Lynn or whatever. I mean, it's a back and forth right now. Nobody's in a hurry to make that move until they feel out and realize that they're not getting anything better. Well, and a lot of the leakage is from teams that are trying to gin up interest, and trying, making sure that there's, if one team is called about a guy, well, maybe that'll spur a couple others to call about and say, oh man, we better get in on this and see what they're asking. And
that's the smart way to play it in any business.
Yeah. And I think all of us have been, reporters have been used in that way. And,
not me, but you.
Yeah. It's definitely happened, and, that's okay. It's news, if somebody tells you, might as well write it.
You got to write it. Yeah. You got to put it out there.
And it's, but it's going to be pretty hectic, I think, here in the next couple of weeks with Rangers news and Rangers rumors.
Yeah.
And,
it's going to be fun.
And on the good side, because while this it's an important trade deadline for them in terms of winning for, the first time since 2016, but, the 2021 trade deadline was pretty important. And when they traded off Gallo and Kyle Gibson, and the Gibson trade hasn't worked out, but that Gallo trade's been pretty fantastic. And so
they don't all work out.
But so there's two sides, and it's much better to be on the buy-in side, I think, than the selling side.
Yeah, and the deal is, you've seen some prospects leave here where you've been, oh crud, I can't believe we let that guy go, and then they haven't panned out where they were, and then others who have turned out. Hendricks is one that, and you think of that goes somewhere and does well for somebody.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, crud. And we gave him up for that. But man, you've got to, there's no guarantee a prospect, unless it's your top prospect, is going to do well where they go. That's part of the reason. Look, I'm a guy that I tend to hoard my prospects as I do my little thing, but I'm also like, there's no guarantee that guy, when he gets to the big leagues, is anything. Because you can look at a guy the way he was then, and he was tops, and now he's back. Look at Maximo Acosta, who's he's getting some more garnering and starting to build again, but he was like 1, 2, or 3, and now all of a sudden he fell back because he struggled a little bit. I mean, that stuff can change any day. Davis Wenzel's a guy that kind of fell off everyone's radar, he's probably somebody that can be added to a piece.
Yeah, I mean, prospects are like, college football recruits.
Yeah.
You can be a 5-star recruit and you get homesick or you get hurt or you have trouble with your girlfriend. And there are all kinds of things that can conspire against a prospect or
game speeds up.
A 5-star. And there are no guarantees. I mean, if you look back at the Cliff Lee trade, Justin Smoke was a good player, became an all-star, but the rest of the guys never really did much. And I guarantee you the Rangers don't regret that trade at all.
Not at all. They went to the World Series. Yeah.
And then you look at the 2011 trade deadline where they traded Chris Davis and Tommy Hunter for Koji Uehara.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that wasn't a very good deal because Chris Davis went on and had a couple really great years with the Orioles at a position where the Rangers weren't particularly strong at the time. But again, they went to the World Series.
Yep.
And
Koji was
good the next year.
Yeah,
he was really good the next year. But and then 15, the Cliff Lee trade. You look at all that they gave away. None of those guys have really panned out.
Uh-uh.
And so
you mean the Cole Hamill trade?
Cole Hamels, whatever. Yeah. None of those guys have really panned out. So it's you never know what you're getting. The Phillies thought they were rebuilding their farm system, and they did, I guess. But
yeah.
So anyway, we'll see what happens.
Good organization will take some of those guys and flip them for someone better anyway.
Yeah,
that's what I say. All right, what do you think? We get in get Kip in here?
Yeah, let's get Kip in and.
Hey, we're going to be at the ballpark tonight, guys. We appreciate everybody. Go to rangerstoday.com. It's $5.99 a month, $60 for the year, $35 for 6 months. Go give it a try, guys. Look, this is the best. I canceled one of my subscriptions this week because it hit and it was like too expensive, and I got rid of it. I'm getting all my news right here. That's all I need right now. So when they're hitting and getting there, I'm not telling you who it is, but I'm starting to back off of them. I'm like, I don't really need another place to go right now.
Yeah, no, we're thorough. I mean, that's the thing. If you want minor league news, we cover it better than anybody else.
Yep.
The big league club, we're on top of things. So it's worth the money.
Yep.
It really is. And it's $60 for the year. It's $5 a month. It's 17 cents a day.
Yep.
That's like one Starbucks.
Yep.
And so just don't get Starbucks for a day. Get Rangers today and you're good.
You're good. And guys, with that being said, talking minor leagues, let's go talk about the draft because Kip Fagg's going to join us. Kip Fagg right after this, guys. All right, Jeff, what's happening with Frisco this week?
Well, as you know, the guest segment of Rangers Day Baseball Podcast is brought to you by the Frisco Rough Riders, AA affiliate of the Texas Rangers. Frisco opens up the second half on the road, but they are back in town on Tuesday, July 18th. So this very coming Tuesday, they play the San Antonio Missions, who I believe are Padres affiliate. As always, on Fridays and Sundays, they have fireworks shows. We went. The Wilsons did indeed go to the July 4th double fireworks show. It was pretty good. I talked to Evan Carter and did a little work. Carlos Cardoza was a tremendous guy. Took care of Henry, gave him a little tour of the clubhouse. So made me question my ethics a little bit, but I didn't go on the tour, so I figured that's how I could justify it. But anyway, such nice people there, such a fun time. And then one other thing to know. On July the 29th, Frisco's out of town, but Riders Field will be open, and the Lazy River will be open to watch the big fight between Errol Spence and Jamal Crawford.
Cool.
That is a big fight. Errol, as you know, is from our area. Jamal Crawford's from Omaha. He's about as good as they get. Did I call him Jamal? I don't think that's right. I'm thinking of the old basketball player. But anyway, Spence and Crawford, big fight. Go watch it at Ryder Field, home of the Frisco Rough Riders.
All right, guys, and joining us right now from his home. He's not at the ballpark today. It's Senior Director of Amateur Scouting, Kip Fagg. This is always a fun one for me. He came on last year after the draft where they had a big one with Kumar Rocker, and then they got Brock Porter in the fourth. This year, boy, they made a big splash again. Kip, what's going on, bud?
Oh, doing well. How you guys doing?
We're hanging.
That's
we're
right.
hanging. Yeah, busy time for you. Finally getting to get some rest, hopefully. And the thing that I'm curious about with Langford is what was the reaction like in the room when the Tigers made their selection and it wasn't Wyatt Langford.
Well, I mean, excited. We really like the player, but I tell you that group up top this year, us picking, I think this is the third year in a row, kind of, Leiter's year, then Rocker's year, and then this year picking high and going through that process that you do when you're, picking the top five or right there. For me, this group was like a challenging group for the fact there was a lot of difference of opinion in that room for sure. and not everybody like had the same guy if they were picking one, so to speak, and we weren't obviously, but White Langford was like we were totally excited, and we feel like you got probably the best player in this draft. But I mean, it was tough this year as opposed to other years where there wasn't as much separation as like there was more separation than there was this year.
He did a Zoom call with us after we did your Zoom call. Seems like a thoughtful kid, but also like he's ready to go. I just that was what I took away from it.
Yeah, he's excited. We're excited. I mean, he's kind of a man of few words. I mean, you got to get him going to get him talking, but he's like, I mean, it's a great teammate. He was a hard worker. You know, the stories like speaks for itself. A kid that basically was kind of a semi walk on that went to Florida, didn't play his freshman year, then got a chance. He was a catcher when he went in there, and didn't get to catch his freshman year, and like looked around and said, hey man, I got to do something different to get on the field, and work transformed his body, and obviously they wanted to get the bat in the lineup his sophomore year. They stuck him in left field, and it just took off from there.
Yeah, on the call, honestly, it looked like he was in his boyhood bedroom doing his call. It really did, and I think that kind of speaks to who the guy is. Down home, humble, ready to go.
Where he's from is it's like a 30-minute drive from Gainesville to the town he's from. So it's like he was a boyhood, grew up Gator fan, went there and played, and obviously had great success there, team wise and personally, and obviously it's like a pretty cool deal when you can grow up rooting for a team and get to go play for them and have big success, and obviously become a high first round pick.
So what does Langford do best in your mind? Is it the power?
No, it's a complete player. Both sides of the baseball is like it's a good hitter with power, controls his own. He walks more than he strikes out. He impacts the baseball at a high elite level. Plays tremendous defense. Actually played decent center field. I'm not saying this guy's gonna be a center fielder in the big leagues, but he played decent center field there in the back end of the year for a kid that really never played in outfield until he got to college. And it's pretty speaks to his athleticism. It's a powerful, strong, like football almost body, and it's like very powerful, twitchy kind of. You wouldn't think that if you like saw him in a uniform, but you get him in street clothes or you get him like in shorts and a workout gear. I mean, this guy's a twitchy, athletic dude, more so than people would imagine. So a lot of things alike.
Yeah, the body looks football, like the neck.
Yeah,
yeah. You remember those old mug shots of guys on Saturday morning, no necks.
Well, I tell you what, and Jeff here's the more. I'm the Ranger fan that grew up a Ranger fan. He's not. I'm telling you, when we were on that Zoom call we were doing a little live thing during the draft when they took Clark, I was perfectly content with Clark. I thought Langford. Oh my God, Langford is going to be there. I tell you what, Kip, I know y'all were thrilled and excited, but as a Ranger fan, they're excited too. This was awesome because a lot of people had him 1-1, not just in your room. A lot of people also had him 1-1.
Yeah.
They thought he was 1-1 too. And not to take away from Skeens or Cruz, who are immense talents and the Rangers would love to have also, but good Lord, I did not see a college kid fall into 4. I just didn't see it. It's exciting.
Well, I mean, we talk every scenario possible. And I mean, you wouldn't believe the scenarios we go through in that room, but, I mean, that point is like we were prepared for it. It's hard to predict. I mean, I've been through so many of these drafts. We sit down and we have like excuse my dog. We have like we put a predictor, like, hey, this is what predict the top 10, right? Kind of thing. Yeah. And nobody really got it right. So, I mean, it was hard to predict what was going on. I didn't think Skeens would go 1-1. I thought Cruz was going or Langford. I didn't know. Hold on one second. Hey. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
But I didn't think that either of those. I mean, it was really not a shock, but it was like I didn't really know. It was like it was a lot of unknown there. Who's going to the top part of this draft?
Yeah, it's Skeens. 1-1 pitcher doesn't happen very often.
He's good. I mean, look, that dude.
Yeah, I mean, what he was doing in that first Calls World Series start, in the hundreds in his, pitch count and on the radar gun. I mean, that's pretty special. But
well,
you'd also taken 2 pitchers. I mean, if he had been there.
Well, I mean, I mean, people say that it wouldn't have, if Paul Skeens would have been the guy that was it was a pretty it was like a 5-man race, so to speak, up there up top. And if Skeens would have been we would have had no problem taking Paul Skeens. I mean, you can rival Paul Skeens. I mean, I saw Strasburger, I saw Garrett Cole, name a college pitcher. This guy was as good or better than any of those guys. So, to have an opportunity to have a talent like that is, to me, is tremendous too. So, like I said before, that whole group for us was we were splitting hairs a lot of times with these guys. I mean, you pulled a room and everybody, there was, 4 or 5 different guys they would choose if they were picking one. So it was not an easy decision.
Wow.
I saw
those guys, to line them up, not who to take, but to line them up.
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. So you knew you were coming out of there with a good player no matter what. I think the excitement with Langford, a lot of people got to see Langford. And this guy he got into the championship game with LSU. They played 3 games. He didn't not show up. He batted like 500 during that. He hit a bomb. I mean, this is a guy in pressure situation that showed up for his team and played. I mean, he did well in the College World Series. You see these guys that are the immense talents and they get in that situation. Maybe they go through a 1 through 11 or something like that. He was leading that team. I mean, it was exciting to watch. So a lot of Ranger fans saw this guy. I just don't think they thought he would be there at 4.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And so that's what makes it so exciting. Can't wait to meet him.
Yeah, but the mock drafts are just, they're a disservice to everybody.
Sure,
I know you got to do them, but gosh, they're ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like
I kind of pride myself. Those guys never were getting me right, but not that I take it, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know a mock that had Langford. I didn't see one, at least. I don't look at all of them, so I don't really know. But I don't remember a mock that had Langford at 4.
No, none.
No, he was gone.
Yeah,
there were some that thought he was better than. In fact, there's one publication, which I know that you don't pay attention to this, with their top 100 prospects, he's going to be the highest ranked first round pick. He's going to be number 8 in all of baseball. I think it might be BA. I saw that.
Really?
I saw it this morning.
Actually, somebody sent me something this morning that they just came out with a new top 100, and Langford was 11. Evan Carter was 12. Is what somebody told me. I didn't see it, but somebody texted me that.
That'll work.
Well, they had, in fact, they had him 8. And they had Cruz and Skeens behind him.
Wow.
Whoever's doing it. They said this is going to be the highest draft. He hadn't had anyone in a draft above, 18 or whatever in the last few years. And they were going to have him 8.
You know what, fellas? Those mean nothing.
No, means no. He's got to perform.
They mean nothing. I would go back in history and look at all these dudes who were high profile and didn't do anything in the big league. So in reality, they don't mean anything. They're just for fans to get excited about.
Absolutely.
And for us to write about.
Absolutely.
Talk about. All right. So that was your only pick on day one, just like last year. But this year you didn't have a Brock Porter situation. But you guys did draft, 6 pitchers on day 2.
Right.
And I asked you during your Zoom call with us reporters, look like power arms. Which one stands out to you?
I mean, I like a lot of these guys, and it's kind of, I mean, it's not unique, but it's like the first time I can remember in my era as a director, in the pool era, where we didn't take a kid that was a money guy, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. Right? We sometimes you allocate money, move him around, et cetera. You have to take a guy that's Roy under slot to get you back on track, so to speak. We did not have to do that this year. So that's the first year I can remember we haven't done that in a long time. So that being said, we went through this process, and you have no idea how many hours we spent like grinding this group down. And we do, and for me in my job, I think the best way a director can do his job is like, you have all these players in a box, right? These are the kids you like, the kids you've done work on, the kids you have convictions on, et cetera, our whole group, right? And how many of these guys can I get in the top 10, right? It doesn't mean we take them in the order we all line them up in, because that's not going to work sometimes. So we had, of these 10 guys, these were like very, the players that our guys were like really most convicted on. That's what I'm really proud of going through. And they weren't even close to being in the order we would have put them up on the board. So how we took them. So it's unique how that works. And sometimes you play the draft and you make calls. And I got picked a couple times too. There was a couple kids I would like to have that got picked right before us, and it caused a little bit of not so much panic. I've been down this road so many times. It's just like you gotta go to a little different direction. The bends and turns of a draft sometimes are unique, and this one was as unique as I can remember as far as like a second day. But I mean, I'm proud of like the guys we took in that second day. Our scouts were like convicted, and it wasn't just our scouts. It was like all the other, people that have say and have input into our process. Analytics people, the data people, the pitching people, scouts are a big one, and they're probably the biggest one in my mind. But I mean, it was really good when those start lining up. That means that, to me, those are the guys we need to target, and these were the guys that were targeted for sure.
So when someone takes a guy you have targeted, like how soon? What was the closest? Did you have like at least a couple?
I'm not going to tell you any names, but I was on two of these. Two of these. I was on the clock talking to the kid, trying to. I don't even know how to say this right, but I was talking to the kid as we were like getting down to the wire, and I had him agree like right before the time was up on two of these.
Oh, really?
So that means that guys when you do this process, you have probably like my money usually have 3 or 4 guys that are lined up, right? That for one pick. And like one guy goes. I had one time where all 3 went.
Oh, no.
which never happens. I'm talking like in 5 pick range. And so I was down to the 4th guy, and believe me, I was going to sign that 4th one because I didn't know where else to go. Yeah. I mean, maybe I should have had another one, but I didn't, but I got that kid done. But it was like that part was very unique in this draft for sure.
Okay. So Skylar Hales, Alejandro Rosario, Caden Scarborough, Isaac Tiger, who's got a great name.
I love that name.
Julian Brock, Quincy Scott, and Case Matter, Washington closer. I
think there's a common theme here, Jeff, and like it's power stuff. Yeah. And I'm not saying we like like targeted like power. I mean, there's some guys that weren't power guys that we like too that we just didn't get a chance at. So I think it just came down to like these were the guys that were available for whatever reason in the spots that we took them. And some of these guys I didn't think we could get in the range we got them at either. I mean, just because my experience with going through drafts and things, and I think that's where it's kind of changed too. Is like when you handicap other teams, so to speak, and kind of what their MOs are. And I've been doing this long enough, and I know almost everybody in all those other teams. I know how they're somewhat what their process is. So it's somewhat going a little different direction. I mean, a lot of it's model generated. A lot of it's like, if they have certain kind of data traits or numbers or whatever that certain teams are going to be on them. And so it's somewhat easier to handicap, but sometimes it's not if you're on one of those players. So sometimes it's not that these kids that we took weren't like, our analyst people and our data people love these guys. So it wasn't like we didn't love them, but there's some traits that maybe they aren't looking at like we are. Let's put it that way.
Gotcha.
Well, so out of these guys, I always love to hear this one too. Is there a guy that we need to watch that maybe he was lower and somebody talked to him, and this guy has a huge upside that y'all took? Maybe I'm talking towards the end of it. What's a name? Hey, watch this kid. This might be a kid next year.
I hate doing that because then I like a vote.
I'm going to ask anyway.
I know, but I mean, just like of the top 10, I'll highlight a couple. I mean, like Scarborough for me is like a high school kid who's probably, I don't know how many teams were on this guy. There was probably 2 or 3 teams, and they're like that. I know the teams that shop for these kind of players, and we actually. I probably went a little higher than I thought it was going to have to originally when we first saw the kid. But I mean, it's like 6'6", big time basketball, athletic as all get out. I mean, you look down the road, this has a chance to be something special. So, I mean, we're going to have to close our eyes a little while and, let him get his baseball feet under him and all that. But it could be special. It could be special. I don't know. I mean, I tell you the other kid too, we signed a kid in the 17th round, Camden Perry. I'm highlighting two high school kids. So,
sure.
But anyway, Camden Perry, the kid at Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas, guy we didn't think we could even come close to signing in that part of the draft. The kid, basically, our area scout, Pat Perry, did a hell of a job. Kid came back, so he wanted to play. We took the guy, and we ended up signing him. So, I mean, he hasn't officially signed yet. I mean, he's agreed, but he goes to Arizona and they sign him. But I mean, that kid's got something for 17th rounders. Like, there was no chance you get a 17-round kid like that in most drafts.
You've had some luck in 17 rounds.
My
17's like always been. I mean, there's been a lot of good Rangers who've been 17th round.
Absolutely.
My best friend lives in Las Vegas, and he sent me the weather forecast for this week. And on Saturday, it's supposed to be 119. So I looked at what it's going to be, but I looked at what it's going to be, and surprised it's going to be 116. So he can drive 3 hours south and cool off.
Yeah. Hey, any of the undrafted free agents, those are the ones that are fun for me. The undrafted, like, look at this year, what's happening with
Josh Stevens,
who's just been.
Aiden Curry's having a good season.
Oh, absolutely.
I tell you what, you guys. I mean, I tell our guys this all the time. I mean, that year of the COVID draft, right? And we had 5 rounds, and the national media lambasted us on our picks. We were the one team in baseball. I think there was maybe another team that did. We took all high school guys other than Foscue, right? Yeah. And we look back at that would have been a 10-round draft. Looking back at this draft, we would have. I guarantee you, we would have signed Dolander, who went in the first round, would have been a Ranger. Wow. Brock Wilkin would have been a Ranger. Who's the other one? There was one more. I'm drawing a blank right now, but there was 2 first-round guys that would have been Rangers if we had a 10-round draft. I actually came down at the end. It was Tommy Sagasi or Brock Wilkin. We debated back and forth, and I ended up taking Tommy. Yeah. But we would have had those guys in that draft. Yeah. But I mean, even like we signed 4 high school kids for $20,000 that year. Josh Steven, I'm drawing a blank now. He's DJ McCarty. Aiden Curry, and who was the other one?
Having a nice year.
Yeah, he's doing good too.
I mean, all those guys. I mean, that draft is like tremendous. I mean, we there's a lot of guys from that draft that are like it's pretty special. And like we went with our scouts that draft because the data wasn't there, and it's crazy. So, but this draft we ended up agreeing with. A few guys. One local love. We got Luke Savage from TCU.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. He's got a great story.
That's a great story. He's going to the Dominican here in like a week from Sunday with his. I can't remember what he calls that. He has a name for it. I can't remember now.
Feet. Something with feet.
Yeah.
I should know this.
Is it like a mission trip or something? Or?
He has a charity that.
Okay.
He goes and brings baseball shoes and shoes of all kinds to the Dominican Republic. I mean,
that's fantastic.
He's a super kid.
He's a great kid. And plus he's pretty good. He's battled through some injury issues here the last couple of years. Excited about that one. We signed a kid named Carl Hartman, a right-handed pitcher who's had Tommy John, who we liked a lot the year before. He's at College of Central Florida. Actually went to Florida out of high school, but had Tommy John, then went to junior college. We took him. We signed him. Logan Bursick Harrington's another one from Davenport, a right-handed pitcher we signed. Ryan Lobus from Mercer, same school that Jackson Kelly's from.
Yeah.
Right-handed pitcher. Then an infielder from Nebraska, Devin Hurdle. And a first baseman from Ole Miss, Anthony Clerico.
Okay.
It's the guys we end up signing post-draft.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And they're $20,000 max, right? I mean, that's still
no. I mean, it's a little different now, Jeff. No, it's a little different. You can go up to 150 on these guys. And
wow.
Yeah,
but it comes out of your top. No, it comes out of your other pool money.
Well, out of the after the draft, that's done.
Oh, that's done. Okay, so it doesn't come out of your draft. Okay,
no. It's so okay. Listen, I'm gonna
the top after the top.
Both 10, both you guys got it wrong. So
I know this. After the top 10,
I got it. Mainly
it's 150 minimum, but you can go over if you have money from the top 10,
and you can do that after the draft too.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter. It's infinitely after the 10th round. It could be a guy no, I take that back. After the draft, 150's capped. Okay. That's the most you can give a guy. Okay. But 10 to 20, whatever you save, you can give to people in the pool. Like I'm trying to sign our 11th rounder yet, it's not done yet. And we save some money inside the pool that I'm trying to work that here shortly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys took flyers on a couple guys in the 11 to 20 range, but there are a couple guys, the LSU commit,
Yeah, Jake Brown,
the Oregon State commit from the fine city of Golden, Colorado, where I've spent a lot of time. Oregon State, right? So,
yeah.
I at that point, is it what the hell? Might as well, or do you guys go in? I'm sure you want to sign these guys, but you probably have less of a chance. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. I mean, there's things you got to look at that you guys aren't thinking about, like insurance of people. Somebody got hurt inside the 10 round, and all of a sudden you get a bunch of money, and it's almost insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
That's getting way into the weeds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got my fun scenario that I want to ask. I always did this last year. So I always, I remember at my age, and I think I'm about your age, Kip, I don't know, but I can remember there used to be tryouts. People go do tryouts. They'd have little camps and you'd do some tryouts trying to find people. It's not like it is today. But do they have anything like that anymore? Like some kid, I mean, I know there's got to be coaches you deal with, you're scouting their players who might bring up a kid and go, we played this kid and he was pretty good. As anyone looked at him, would y'all go afterwards and do some sort of private workout and just look at a kid? Does that still happen?
Not quite to the extent. When I first started, we used to go, we advertise in papers and stuff and go have like all people would show up, and
sure,
I believe some of the people showed up some of the tryouts I've had in the past, but it's probably less and less this time. I mean, just with the advent of all the social media and all that, it's like if there's a kid that we haven't heard of, we find out about him a lot easier than you used to be able to. So that probably doesn't happen as much. There's still always, like, every once in a while you hear of a kid and, oh boy, I don't know about this, and you can, but it doesn't. It's like one in a number. So we probably not as much as we used to do, for sure.
Yeah, I figured that, especially with social media and the internet and doing that. I mean, but so there wouldn't. So you're still do something like that. All of a sudden, it's like, well, yeah, we're going to do a private workout. If somebody says you ought to go look at this kid who's probably on nobody's radar, and I hate to see him get passed up, or maybe something like that. Okay, that's what my question was. That was intriguing.
I got a homeschool kid for you. His name is Lane Bishop. He's from Mansfield. He's good. He's an outfielder. Right-handed hitter.
What year?
Got some power. I think he's a junior.
Okay.
Is he going to be a junior?
I think he's going to be a junior.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't know who he was. Huh? I mean,
he's in our area. He's solid.
Well, I mean, there's
Bobby on him.
Bobby Party knows about him. I'm sure if the guy's good, he does. I mean, but my point being is, like, there's gonna be instances where our guys, like, hey, stumble across a guy, and I personally not going to go. Like, we bring some guys to the stadium late, and some, like, I tell you what, the guy with Scarborough was a little bit like that. I mean, our area guy ran into him, and he was a guy that wasn't on anybody's radar because he wasn't like a summer showcase guy, and he was a basketball player, and he was there's guys that are less known than others. Mm-hmm. And I think, I mean, it's hard to find anybody that's like nobody knows about it anymore. Yeah. But I mean, there's some that are lesser known. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Yeah. And then I can't think of his name. The Mansfield Timberview center fielder. He can play. All right.
Look at Jeff. He's taking, this is kind of like my fantasy camp would be a scout.
I'm diversifying.
Diversify.
There you go.
Yeah. So what's next after you get these guys signed? Are we still doing the summer showcases, the perfect games, and All-American stuff? We got that's the bad part of the way they have the MLB's got the draft set up. We go into July. Now, the minute the draft is over, they have the PG All-American game that's going on, or All-American. It's not the game, but it's the PG All-American, like, where they have every player across the country's there. That's going on in Arizona. I'm obviously not there, but we have a lot of our scouts are there, mostly the area guys. I let the crowd Sugars go home and take a breath because they've been in that draft room the whole time. Yeah. And the area guys go and cover that. And we got, like, Team USA was just going on. They played Japan and Korea. So we had guys watching that. Plus there's, like, the PDP things going on. And things run together so quickly now. It's, like, almost too much. And MLB's got to figure out a way to make this a little more separation between one draft and another. Because, I mean, it used to be in the olden days when it was like at the first part of June, right? I mean, we had some time to take a breath before the next year started. Now we don't. So I'm hoping that there's some kind of a compromise here. I know that they love it at the All-Star game and it's a big media event, et cetera. But I mean,
for all this. I mean, even the front office, you talk to CY. I mean, anybody it's not, I mean, it's horrible. The trading deadline's coming up, the draft, the All-Star game. It's a joke that all of them are like in one spot. They got to spread it out a little bit more. Yeah, so that part of it's good.
July is the worst month, I think, for
I can't imagine with CY because he's
office guy or scouts. I mean,
he's being pulled in two directions. He's got to do the draft. He's still got to look to improve the big league team. I can't imagine that's got to be so busy.
So I guess the big bucks, John.
That's true. That's why he does.
Yep. Well, Kip, we're going to let you get out of here. I mean,
no kidding. This is fun every year.
Rest. You go out on the lake. It's too hot, though.
I appreciate you guys being Rangers fans and everything. That's first and foremost. And hoping you can follow these dudes. And hopefully there's some guys that I know there's going to be some guys out here that are going to be probably better than we all think. And some probably won't be as good. That's usually the way drafts work. But we're excited sitting here today. Like the group we brought in, we feel like, they're first and foremost like good people too. I mean, we try to do a good job that part as far as scouts, but I mean they're talented and we'll get them out there and start playing and see how it goes. But we're excited about it.
All right.
Hey guys, that's Kip Fagg, Senior Director of Amateur Scouting. Every year he comes on after the draft, and this is such a fun time. Kip, thanks so much for joining us.
All right, thanks for having me on, guys. You guys take care.
All right, we'll see you later. After this, guys, Down in the Bus Leagues.
Down in the Bus Leagues is brought to you by the Round Rock Express, the AAA affiliate of the Texas Rangers. They're in Tacoma this weekend, and then they come home on Tuesday, July the 18th to host the Reno Aces. Keep in mind a couple things about this week in Round Rock, especially Friday night the 21st. It is the continuation of the Nolan Ryan bobblehead series giveaway. This time he's in a Rangers firework. So it's a big night. It's Round Rock Donuts night, which is, Round Rock Donuts are about the best you can get. It's Nolan Ryan bobblehead night. And then it's Friday fireworks presented by a light beer company that's had some marketing issues here lately. So anyway, their money still spins, and Round Rock will gladly take it.
Absolutely.
But anyway, check out Round Rock at MILB.com. And back to the Frisco thing, it's Terrence Crawford, the boxer. It's going to drive me crazy if I don't correct myself. So anyway, thanks again to Round Rock, and now let's go down in the Bus Leagues.
All right, guys. Now big thanks to Kip Fagg for coming on. It's time to go down in the Bus Leagues. Brought to you by the Round Rock Express, AAA affiliate for the Texas Rangers. Jeff, let's start out with the team that goes at the very bottom. We'll climb up all the way.
All right.
Obviously, we're going to also talk about Sebastian Walcott, who has been amazing down there. But Down East is low A affiliate. They're 9-6. They're 5-5 in their last 10. By the way, we're in the second half of the season. That's why these records aren't as big as they are. Okay, they're playing a lot better.
Down East won the first half.
That's right. I'm thinking of Hickory. I'm sorry. When we get to Hickory, my bad.
Down East won the first half. They're doing it with pitching. Joseph Montalvo's a guy who's done really, really well. He's a 20th round pick in 2021.
Was he a high school kid?
I think so. Yeah, signed. You can take your time with a guy like that, and it's working out. He was in the ACL last year. He like 35 strikeouts and 3 walks or something like that. He's walked a few more guys this year than normal, and that might be just the level of the hitter and the skill level of the hitters improved, but still striking out guys. Leads the team in wins and earned run average. So, and that's saying something considering Brock Porter's on the staff. Aiden Curry's having a nice year. Dylan McClain's finally doing something in kind of a hybrid role. So that's good, but good pitching staff there. The news that I think we had on the last one, Jason Morobel is out for the year. Had surgery on his shoulder. Same injury as Josh Young, so a labor deal, but they expect him to be a full go in 6 or 7 months. So disappointing, but okay. And
Gutierrez is still down there.
Yeah, he is. Daniel Cueva, Glider Figueroa, our buddy Cam Cauley, and Ian Muller. So guys, and one thing that these we didn't touch on with Kip, but these guys that were just drafted, especially the college guys, are going to end up getting out. They won't spend the summer in the Arizona Fall League, so you might see some new names from the draft who end up in down east, at least for a little while. I mean, a lot of these college guys might be able to survive at high A Hickory. So we'll see what happens. Well, hey, maybe the couple of them end up at Double A. You know, Chase Lee debuted at Double A, so maybe a couple of these guys end up at Double A. We'll see.
Okay, Hickory 12-2, 8-2 in their last 10. They finally did lose a couple. They're the ones that have really come on the second half, and they have just played better. Abby Ortiz, who got promoted up from down east, he was the player of the month.
Yeah, he's the Rangers minor league player of the month, and he's what
he had 8 home runs in June or something like that.
I think he hit more than that. I mean, he's just been.
He's got 18 to 20 or something like that for the year.
He's been outrageous, doing better at high A than low A. So that's good. And you know, you kind of they're different players, different bodies, different amounts of athleticism. But you kind of remember in 21 how Dustin Harris kind of came out of nowhere, you know,
right.
and had this great start at Down East and got promoted and was even better at Hickory. And it's kind of similar to this. You know, I don't think they're going to have Abby Ortiz running around in the outfield anytime soon like they are with Dustin. But again, it's a position, first base, that's thin. And if he's always had power in his career since turning pro, but it's been pretty good. And he's added the hit tool. He's hitting for average too. So neat. You know, it's always neat when guys pop up like this.
Well, Frisco Rough Riders, the Double A affiliate, and the sponsor of our guest today, which was Kip Fagg. They are 6-6, 5-5 in their last 10, playing 500 ball. They did win their last game. New faces there.
Yeah,
one that we've had on.
Yeah, well, we've had them both on. Dane Acker and Josh Stephen. I was there on the 4th. That was Josh's Double A debut. His mom spotted me in line for a beer. I had already completed my work. I had to make sure she understood that I was not working and drinking at the same time.
So she recognized you, huh?
She recognized the hat, I think.
Okay.
But anyway, she appreciated it. She was nervous, and he had a bunch of family there. I guess his dad is one of 11 children, and
wow.
And I think like they were all there. So it was a nice cheering section for him. Unfortunately, he left to start early with some back stiffness, but Rangers aren't concerned about that. So, but he pitched well, gave up 2 runs in 4 1/3. So good for him. Dane Acker is there as well, and he's pitched twice now. He's got a big full beard now, not quite super long yet.
He's not the Davis Wenzel yet, but
no. It's bushy, and but he's healthy and he's still on a pitch count, and as they try to keep him
navigate it right
upward, vertical and or horizontal. Which one is it? Not vertical. And but he was in great spirits. Talked to Evan Carter, who is ranked as now depending on the publication, he's either the number 7 or number 8 Rangers prospect. To further what we were talking about with Kip, in fact, while we were talking to Kip, Baseball America, I got the email. They've released their new top 100. Wyatt Langford is 11th. Evan Carter still 8th, and then Skeens was 6th, and Cruz was 4th. So I know you'd mentioned that Langford in one of these rankings is going to be higher than those two, and I don't know when it's going to come out, but to have 2 guys in the top 11, that doesn't hurt.
Not at all. And that you're looking at future outfield probably if all goes the way it should. Then those guys might be future outfielders in the Rangers big leagues. I mean, this is a guy, and people were like, when is the first time we could possibly see, now that we're talking minor league stuff, when could we possibly see Langford in the big leagues? They talked about it on our live show the other night. And you know, when's the earliest we could see him? I mean, technically, you could see him next year, by the end of next year.
Yeah.
I mean, look, they're not going to rush Wyatt Langford, but if Wyatt Langford starts out at Double A and goes to Triple A, has 21 home runs, hitting .314, and just killing the ball next year, and
they'll find a spot for him. But I think that
if he is the best option in left field for the Texas Rangers, Wyatt Langford will play left field. This team is not going to hold anyone back if it can help the big league team.
Well, it's interesting because Ezekiel Duran, he actually is okay as a DH. You know, some players hate DHing.
Right.
It's an adjustment. You're not part of the game for half of the game, and
right.
I think Mitch Garver struggles with that a little bit. So it is a skill. You have to have the right mind, and Duran doesn't seem to mind it. So this is the next year we're talking about, or 2 years down the road. In my humble opinion, I think Wyatt Langford needs a full season of minor league baseball. But go ahead and just start thinking about the possibilities.
Sure.
Evan Carter could be ready. And if
he's closer. He's the one.
If you have Evan Carter, Wyatt Langford, and Leody Taveras and Adolis Garcia as your outfielders, how do you find them all at bats? You're going to have to cycle them through at DH. But then what do you do with Duran? And so maybe one of them has to go.
Yep.
Maybe
trade deadline is upon us. Maybe
you can't find a long-term deal with Garcia if he continues to produce like this.
Right.
So it's he's still under club control, but just things to think about. And
look, I wanted to talk about this. Carter came back after that injury and has just again picked basically right up where he left off.
Right
after that injury, like that. We're going to see him in AAA by the end of the year, right?
I would think so.
I mean, there's no reason to keep him there.
Yeah, as long as he's healthy and still producing, I would think that he's in AAA, gets some exposure to the AAA level at least. And it's unfortunate that I really kind of liked the expanded September rosters. I know that you can still add a couple guys, but I really liked it when
you could add as many as you wanted.
Yeah, and anybody on the 40-man, because you'd get a chance to see some guys get cups of coffee or try to help out the team in certain ways. But then the domino effect is guys would move up from AA to AAA, or wherever the players are being pulled from, holes had to be filled, and so it was good to see. Yeah, it was good to see those guys too.
Round Rock's got a good outfield.
Round Rock's got a good offensive team.
Well,
they really do.
Let's talk about Round Rock. They're 8-4. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They have won 4 in a row. Now, continue with what you were saying.
JP Martinez, like I said earlier, he not much more he can do.
Nope.
And maybe that's it. Maybe they want to see him continue to do this for a little while longer. But it would seem that at some point he has to become an option. Brad Miller, great guy, like Brad, but he hasn't had an at-bat since he returned from the injured list.
No.
If you're just buying somebody time, and you don't want to eat all the money, or maybe you're trying to trade him away too in a contract swap or something, I don't know. But it would seem that spot could go to Martinez, would need a 40-man spot. That's fine. But he's just been really, really good. Bubba Thompson's back playing. He's been fine. You have Ilya Hernandez, who's had a 26-game hitting streak.
He had a swim last year in the
He had a little taste, and but it's a different year, and he can play. He hasn't this year. He hasn't played in the infield, I don't think, but he can play first base and third base. But it's Davis Wenzel still hitting home runs. Sam Huff has been great at AAA.
Yeah,
Sam Huff has been fantastic. Justin Foscue, he's back playing after his little wrist soreness. He's a guy that's got to go on the 40-man this offseason from a Rule 5 perspective. So it's a team that has a lot of good pitchers. Owen White's, or a lot of good position players. Owen White's down there. Cole Winn is still figuring things out. And then I wonder what's going to happen with Danny Duffy, who was in Arlington yesterday working out with the team. He'd been at Frisco. He's on a minor league deal, so he isn't on an injury rehab assignment. He's been assigned there, but I would expect that he gets some Round Rock time too before he becomes an option. Chase Lee's still doing well. Mark Church is doing well. I would think.
Spees.
Alex Spees is there now. The Rangers re-signed Ian Kennedy to a minor league deal. They have Ryan Tapura, who was released by the Angels. They signed him. He's like 5-0.
Yeah.
Matt Bush is back. He had a pretty rough go with the Brewers, but maybe he finds a comfort level back in the organization he knows so well. So
the organization that really brought him back from obscurity.
Sure. So
he would love nothing better than to get back up to the big leagues and help this team on a run, because I think he's got a big appreciation. You could see last year we talked to him after he got traded. He was a little shocked and, I mean, I guess excited, but I think you could see in his face he was like, wow, I was really, I kind of liked it here.
Yeah, I mean, he's made it his home, and
yeah,
he's from San Diego. Obviously he had his legal issues, but he's got a house in the Metroplex, and wife and a family now. He has at least one kid. I haven't talked to him for a while since he had his daughter. So anyway, there are options.
Yep.
And these guys can opt out of their deals, that like the Tapura, I'm assuming, or he might get a better opportunity somewhere else, and the Rangers won't stand in his way. But
never,
as the
kind of way Carpenter was last year,
as the bullpen continues to be unreliable.
Mm-hmm.
If these guys are looking like they're getting outs and can help, especially guys with experience, you never know.
Has Taylor Hearn played his last time for the Texas Rangers?
I don't think so. He's still pretty young, still under control. He's just got to figure it out. And
the guy throws hard. He's left-handed.
I mean, these guys come at their own pace, and maybe he was rushed because he was part of that. I wouldn't say they got him in 2018. 19 he came up to made that start in Seattle and got hurt. 20 he everybody thought he would make the team. He ended up not making the team initially that summer. Ended up pitching in the big leagues again that year. Last year, or 21, looked like he might be a good reliever.
Yeah.
22, he was in the rotation. It didn't work out. So he's just got to find his way. He's
got to find his niche.
It's still about commanding the fastball with him, and if he can do that, he's going to be a good player, a good pitcher. But he has not made the improvements, I don't think, that the Rangers were seeking, or he would have been back by now.
All right, is that it?
Yeah, just
Sebastian Walcott.
Oh, Sebastian Walcott in the ACL.
He's hit 5-6 home runs now down there.
Yeah, and I think they've mostly been this month. He's seems to be in a happy place.
I predicted that Sebastian Walcott would be the number one prospect soon in the organization. That might have gotten held up by Langford, who came into the organization, because I don't think I kind of assumed Max Clark was going to be the Ranger. I didn't assume Langford, but I still say Sebastian Walcott could be one of these. Maybe the Rangers finally have one of their Juan Soto type kids that goes up at 20 years old.
Maybe. You never know.
Gets here by 20 and he's killing the ball, but we'll see.
Yeah. But anyway, the ACL team is playing a lot better. They're still under 500, but they were like 4-11 at one point. Now I think they're 12-13 or 13-13 or 12-14, something like that. The DSL, it's hard to figure them out. There's two teams, and prospects there's two teams. It's not like there's an A team and a B team. I think they try to evenly divide the talent. And, so
everybody can play.
But everybody's playing, and you might see some of those guys in Arizona.
Does ACL have two teams or just one?
Just one. Yeah. I think a couple of the teams have two, but the Rangers just have one. Okay, so yeah, Rangers today, $5.99 a month, 35 for 6 months, 60 for 12 months. At this point, 12 months gets you into the next All-Star break.
Right.
So you'll get the rest of the season, which is looking like a playoff run. You'll get the off season, which will be huge. Mm-hmm. You'll get spring training and the start of next year, all the way to the All-Star game, which is at Globe Life Field. So it's a good time to get you your 12 months. You'll
hit the subscribe button.
Yeah, you'll get all the good stuff. Subscribe to the YouTube channel too. Now that baseball is back, we will be out there doing our interviews, and I think I don't have any vacations planned. I think you might.
Mine are done.
You're all traveled out, so we should.
Well, I got some traveling to do, but they won't be for a week and gone. Like I got to take my son's got to go up for an orientation for college, but that's on a Monday and Tuesday.
Okay,
that shouldn't affect you and me. We've got to take him to college. We'll probably rotate that around. Coming up on a Saturday and then coming back and dropping him off, doing that kind of thing. But we shouldn't miss. Sorry about that, guys. I enjoyed going live. That's pretty fun to do. But getting a show together is more fun. And getting a guest on and getting to do that. And don't forget the Dub Network. Go hit their social media platforms as they're putting us out on out there. We really appreciate the Dub Network in this.
Yeah, we're on iHeartRadio with them now.
iHeartRadio with
and
the Dub
But
Network.
we're still on Spotify and Apple and Google.
Everywhere you listen
Everywhere
to a
you
podcast.
can get the most popular podcasts.
Most popular Texas Ranger podcast.
Yeah, we're number
there
one,
is.
baby.
That's
Yep.
it. Guys, thanks for this. We're back at it. Today's Friday. The Rangers open big series to start the second half tonight. By the time some of you watch this, they've already played, but when you're listening to it, they haven't.
There you go.
Have a good one. Till next time, see you at the yard.